Hey guys, Vinny here. So today I'm gonna record this video to talk to you guys about what is it to be a general contractor. So it's been a year since I got my license as a GC, and my life like completely turned around for the better. I've been always working in construction. So I got here in the US in 2005, and I started working doing floors, and I also worked the landscape. I did a bunch of different things, but I was always working for someone. And then I think it was back in 2011 when I opened my own company and I started getting my own jobs. But I always lay back working for somebody that had the license and was giving me work. He was basically just feeding me all the work. I didn't have to go after any customers or anything. So it was very comfortable for me to just stay like that. And I was making good money at the time, which was good, but it wasn't not even close what I'm doing now. So I encourage a lot of people that are young and are just getting into construction to really go for it. Go for the license. It's not as hard as people think. I will make another video explaining everything that I went through to get my GC license. And basically the GC does is oversee all the work, So I created a long relationship with a bunch of different contractors in different areas, from plumbing to electrical, mechanical, and all the areas that the GC works, which is the structural part, framing, drywall, painting, flooring, kitchens. So after a long period of time that I was just doing floors, I decided to open up and start doing everything, and I went for the license. So I'm just gonna give you guys a hint of like a couple things that I think are very important for the general contractor to be successful. Because closing jobs, it's not as easy as it sounds. I visit a lot of customers, and I probably close 7 out of 10 jobs, which is pretty high. My goal is to stay above 50% of all the estimates that I give, that I can close the jobs. One thing that I think is very important, it's your appearance. People sometimes think it's foolish, for you to drive a nice car or to, wear some presentable clothing and all that, but that is very important. You guys have to realize that customers, they want to make business, or they want to associate themselves with people that represent success. And people that drive nice cars and are, smell good and wear nice clothes, they tend to be successful. And customers don't want to associate themselves with people that are not like that. If you come for an estimate and you are dirty, you don't smell good, you're driving a very bad car, automatically the customer will look at you and realize, if this guy, he's like this, how can I be sure that he is successful? And it could be, it's not that you need to be rich, or you need to be driving a fancy car or anything like that to be successful. It's not what it is, but that's what it seems like. So even though it's not true, because I remember I was making a lot of like good money, and I was driving a van, and I was getting to estimates dirty, and sometimes I would close a job and sometimes I wouldn't. But for people that are perceiving you when you come in, it makes a difference. So it is important. Your appearance is very important, because that's the first thing that the customer sees. The customer will look at you and say, well, this is a person that I want to do business with. This is a person that I want to have a relationship with, because it seems like he's successful. So that's what I want at my house, doing some work. I don't want a loser here. And even though I'm saying it again, it doesn't mean that the guy that is driving a van and it's dirty from work because he's a hard worker, it doesn't mean he's a bad worker, or it doesn't mean he's not successful. But a lot of the customers have that perception. So it is important. Appearance is important. Another aspect that I think is very important is confidence. So when you come into the house, make sure you know what you're talking about. And even if you don't, try not to let that be perceived by the customer. So I'll give you an example. I'm not very knowledgeable about electric. So I come into the house and the guy said, oh, I want to do this remodeling here and I want to move this wall, and what's going to happen with the electric, I tend to at least know the basic for what I'm offering. So if I'm offering that I'm going to remove a wall, I need to know what's going on with the electric on that wall. So even though I don't know anything about voltage or watts or whatever it is, how an outlet works, I have no idea. But I know that when I'm moving a wall, I need to think, where am I going to run the wire now? Is there a possibility to run the wire from the attic? And small things like that, because you need to have confidence when you talk to the customer. You need to let the customer know that you know your stuff, because that is what sells the most. When the customers realize that I know what I'm talking about, they feel like, oh, okay, I can let my guard down and let this guy know that he is talking about something that he really knows. So another thing, if there's an area that it's your expertise, for example, mine is flooring. I've been doing floors for over 20 years. So when I come into a house, I will think about the minimum stuff that somebody else that is going there to give them a price about flooring won't even talk about. So I'll look for something that's going to give me an edge, that's going to defer me from the other guys that are coming in to give another estimate. So for example, I would say, I'll give you an example. We're replacing a floor. We're removing tile and we're putting a new floor. And usually when we're doing some vinyl or some wood floor, they're lower than the tile. So I know that if we put the same height baseboard, we're going to have a problem. There's going to be a line from the existing baseboard to the new baseboard. So I would say, guys, you're going to have a problem here. Either we're going to have to go with a taller baseboard, or we're going to have to go with a different type of baseboard, or we're going to have to paint the whole wall. If that's something you're looking for, we're going to have to fix, because there will be a caulk mark from the existing baseboard, and things like that some people that are going there to sell the floor may not even talk about. So that'll give me an edge. So I think it's important that you sell confidence, that you know what you're talking about, that you make the customer feel safe, So a lot of the houses that I give estimates, when I leave the house, I feel like they really they liked me. So they're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. I feel confidence in him. If his price is good, that's the guy that I want to go for. So that is an aspect that is important. Price, market will give the price. And I always tell the customers that I'm never going to be the cheapest guy. I'm a licensed guy. I have insurance to pay. I have a big overhead, and I'll never be the cheapest, but I'll be the best. So I pass that forward to the customer, so they know they're in good hands, that they're not gonna have a problem. They're not gonna get screwed. I'm never gonna run away with somebody else's money. You're never gonna hear that Vini, the GC, didn't pay me, or didn't pay this, or took the money from the customer and didn't deliver. Like, your reputation is everything. You need to have. You need to own for the things that you're selling. So that is, very important. Another thing when you're giving the price is that never feel guilty about the price. So if you're giving the price to a customer, don't feel bad about it. If the customer asks you, oh, how much is this gonna be? You say, oh, $5,000. And even if you think that that's expensive, don't let them think like that, because if they feel that you that are selling already think that this is expensive, what are they gonna think? Oh, if the guy that is selling me think it's too much money, wow. Because sometimes, and I did that many times, I would say, well, this kitchen's gonna be around like the customer would ask me, I say, oh, how much you think like this will be about? I said, well, 18,000, but I'm gonna include this, or I'm gonna include that. I was like trying to justify the price that I was giving at the time. And when you do that, you make everything seem like it is expensive. And when you say something like, oh, this is gonna be $22,000, like it's nothing, the customer will feel like, oh, it's nothing, it's worth, it's exactly what he's delivering. So don't feel guilty about the price that you're giving. I know that it sounds crazy, and sometimes we feel like, oh my God, it's too much money. But it may be too much for me, but it's not too much for the customer. Another thing that I like to do a lot is ask for the customer budget. You may not get an answer from the customer, but you have to put it in a way not for the customer to feel like you are trying to get an advantage from him. But I would say, for example, like this: oh, I know you want to have a new kitchen, but what is your budget? How much are you willing to spend here? Because I can make some adjustments and change a few things here and there that's gonna make the price go up or go down. Kind of sound like in a way that I'm trying to help them, and they will give me a budget. Because sometimes you'll be surprised. Don't judge the customers. Sometimes you judge and say, well, I don't think this guy will be able to afford a kitchen that is $20,000, so I'm gonna make it like 17. And then you ask the budget, and they're like, oh, I think I'm looking at something around 30. And then you're like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. And that happened a lot. So try to be smart about it in a way to ask the customers for that. I don't want to make the video too long. It's already been like 11 minutes. Thank you guys for the follows. I'm getting a lot of follows. I just started the channel, and I want to make sure I'm here to help you guys. So ask questions on the comments. I'll be glad to help you guys. The next video I'm gonna make, I'm gonna talk about the process of getting the license, which I think is what a lot of people want to do. It's not that hard. It's just you gotta know what you're doing. I got my license completely in a month and a half, which sounds crazy for a bunch of people that have been trying for years to get their GC license, but I have a method to get that. So I will, explain a little better in another video how I got that, and I hope to be able to help you guys. I'll be showing a lot of jobs before and after all the time. So I hope you guys like it, and thank you for everything. Take care.